Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Silent Hill Ascension post show. I'm Eduardo. Still here with Layla. She hasn't gone anywhere, and she got to see this. We got to see the scenes along with you, and a lot of the scenes tonight. Well, were about that relationship between Nils and Britt.
Yeah, Britt coming in with the big girl apology first things first, which felt deserved. Nils did get shot. And then they go exploring in the woods, which if you are protagonists, if you ever find yourself protagonists in some sort of horror show, don't do that. Do not run into the woods to investigate something, because as you saw, didn't turn out great, because now there's two Brit and this one stepped out of a mirror.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely break that down, Layla, but because that decision opened. But we'll get into that. We got a lot, but yeah. When you see a monster attack you, that's one thing, and then when you see yourself dead, that's another. Or conscious at least. Not the most reassuring aspect of your little visit in the woods, right? You're like, I want to go for a little jog, relax. I'm with my friend. There I am.
Yeah, talk about an out-of-body experience, right? And just see yourself kind of starfished out in the leaves. I wouldn't be a fan of that, certainly. But we've seen this, doubling of the Brit, right? And we saw something similar with Carl, but Brit 2, the Britaning, has been in a mirror. We've seen her, start to flash here and there. And now she's apparently corporeal, which is troubling. So here's hoping she doesn't do a murder, right? Because that seems to run the family, too.
No, for sure. And actually, I wonder if it's Brit free, because we assume it's the second one, but we don't know if it's the third one.
Are you thinking this is like a shadow clone jutsu? Brittany?
Maybe there's Brit 4 and 5 waiting for us. That's really important too. The Brittany is a thing. So, before we'll come back to Brit for sure. Our production team's going to put the video that premiered today. That's the last one in Pennsylvania, where Krista kind of knocks on the door. She questions a little bit. They kind of question each other's purity, so to speak. Xavier's leadership comes in, but Krista's like, "Don't come back to the Foundation. You're not worthy."
Yeah, listen, Krista's been pretty directly competing with Rachel for leadership kind of this entire time, and now also kind of competing for her man, can't forget that. But she basically shows up and she says, "Hey man, do not return." And then we have this little moment here with Miss Faith, who seems very uncomfortable at the idea of Krista being around. I'm trying to it's me with the red string and the Pepe Sylvia board, trying to piece together how Faith is reacting to whom, because it's definitely different from before she disappeared. But I can't remember if we've seen her and Krista interact, but she is not comfortable around that lady.
No, that's actually true. They don't normally interact. I think there was that brief moment where they found Faith and there was Krista and a bunch of people. But I don't think there was more intimate one-on-one or one-on-two style relationship here. You're right. Faith seems to be scared of Krista. What's going on there? Good spot.
Scared of Krista, scared of Rachel, not scared of Nora at all, and apparently also not scared of Eric.
Loves the monsters too. They bring her joy.
Some of them are puppies, though. Can you blame her?
That's fair. I understand, right? So the big thing is, right? We talked about as the scene kind of closing here, right? That conflict between Rachel and Krista was kind of boiling beneath the surface. You're starting to see a bit of that conflict, but we're gonna look at the decision that opened today. Production's gonna put that up. Layla's gonna read it for you, because this popped up today and it's about Brit.
Absolutely. So what will Brit do with her doppelganger, or as Eduardo has threatened us with, doppelgangers? This is a fate decision. So once again, we got redemption, suffering, damnation. Option A for redemption is revive her. Option B for suffering is leave her. Honestly, probably what I would do if I saw my body knocked out in the woods. Or C, kill her while she can in the damnation option. Talk about a variety.
Yeah. Also, somebody in the audience is eat her doppelganger, which would be D. I don't know. Like we got free pass. I don't know if a fourth one's merited. But you're right with Lever. Actually, the audience is agreeing with you. There was a rallying on suffering, and Lever is the top option. Now the important part is that, one of the things I notice out of these scenes is things are not quite what they seem to be. So I'm not. So they're quite. I mean, kill her while she can is quite the task. Given that, given that appearances are not necessarily what they seem, do you really want to go down that road?
I mean, listen, I'm not telling Britt what to do here. I'm just saying there's a lot of big rocks in the woods.
That's reasonable, but you're right. The lever is like the sensible option. Not now. No, I got other stuff. This is not okay. I'm just gonna move on.
Listen, I don't know about you, but when I get full up on issues and I'm kind of at my limit, as Britt seems to be and her whole family seems to be, there comes a point where you see a new thing and you go, nope, absolutely not. And you just you do not perceive, you do not see. And that is exactly what I would do. I'd be like, nope, can't even process this, and just keep moving and then have it haunt my nightmares.
No, for sure. And we'll talk about the decision as well at the end of our post show a little bit more, but first let's look at Norway in the context, right? So the idea is we're going to look at that story in its fuller context, so that, because that decision is closing tomorrow, so you'll see it in tomorrow's show. But our story so far in Norway, thank you production team for putting that on screen. Layla's going to reread it to you, the audience.
While I'm reading, Eduardo waved to our good people. They're asking for a wave. In Norway, Britt tries to resolve a confrontation she doesn't remember starting. Then she faces #SmilingBrit. Astrid considers that the Lady of the Lake might be real. She asks Britt to contact Nils for help. And Aurora considers that the Lady of the Lake might be real. She asks Britt to contact Nils. Oh, nope. She arrives at the farmhouse and Astrid must decide if she'll let her see Orson's troubling behavior. And that's on teleprompters, everybody. A lot going on in Norway.
Yeah, and I also left the trap because so for the astute things, we were talking about, the thing was, when we were preparing for the show, we were talking about like the fairy tale aspect a lot, right? And legends, and I think one of them slipped in with the Lady of the Lake for our Furian fans out there. And that actually, so the thing is, we solved it for what appears on your screen, as you can see, Lady of the Woods. But we didn't. I trapped Layla by not getting that solved in our back end. So I apologize to you, Layla. I apologize to you, the audience, for that one. But it is very much a Lady of the Woods. Maybe, at the end of the day, though, it would be kind of a nice little band, right? The Lady of the Woods, the Lady of the Lake. I mean, there's certainly a metal band somewhere there. We also got Suffering, Redemption, Damnation. I'm sure something is out of it. We didn't talk about Norway, I guess, as a result. But the big thing was, as you said, that relationship between Britt and Nils was actually really touching to see. And kind of puts light on a character that, was around, right? Nils' character, but in a very different light.
Absolutely. And just real quick in chat, we got Drew saying strange women lying in ponds distributing morgy is not a suitable system of government. Hard disagree. Put me in that system. I'm finding Nils very interesting because they came in with a very antagonistic energy. Clearly they hold a grudge, much like Haugen did. But also we saw Haugen kind of move past the grudge for the greater good. So I'm wondering if Nils is headed in that direction or in maybe not that direction, right? We got a fork in the road. On one hand, get over the Ava, shooting the town, and on the other one, not that. I don't know what form that takes.
No, that's the thing, right? Look. I'm just curious as to how for Norway for me is really about those interpersonal relationships. We're going to move to Pennsylvania, and I'll be on screen, but before we do, that's the difference. Pennsylvania to me feels very action focused. Thing happens, we need to resolve thing. In Norway, there's still a lot of that interpersonal relationship. Dead or alive, it doesn't matter. We still see the horrors of Ingrid. We still see Smiling Carl. It doesn't matter really what their state of mind is. They have to deal with themselves, and they have to deal with the people they care about. But anyways, our story so far in Pennsylvania, that's up on your screen.
Absolutely. So in Pennsylvania, Xavier's preparing for Ascension. I have a trumpet kazoo I should really bring out for every time we say Ascension. Eric discovers Faith hid at the steel mill and deliberates with Nora about what to do with the evidence. And then Rachel tries to explain Xavier's plans to a reluctant Faith, which may separate her from Eric for good. She is saying, baby, we're getting divorced and you're coming with mommy, which probably not great considering, again, Faith was not really super keen on Rachel when she first got back.
No, and not keen at all later, right? She's like, I want to go with daddy, and pretty much. And honestly, the funny part is, while the Endure scene was playing, I was watching you, audience, because I know what the Endure scene looks like. I don't know what you are going to react. It's much more fun for me to watch you, the audience. See, the audience, you watch us, but you didn't think that the reverse is happening. Anyways, the big thing, right, is like you kind of acted as if children of divorce yourselves. You're like, well, originally, we were with Eric, but then the Morgie scene kind of happened, and now we kind of like Rachel, so we want to be with Rachel instead. So you all picked your sides, which is totally fair. That's part of the thing, right? They separate quarterly. Well, you still got to decide who's your, where your friends are at. So that's that's definitely gonna be it. I mean, they have to deal with kind of death and monsters, but otherwise, have to, who's on whose side in the relationship also matters a lot.
Yeah, I'm finding Eric's heel turn very interesting myself. I don't think Rachel is winning our audience in the divorce per se, but she's also not losing them any more than she was already. And Eric is losing them much, much more than he ever thought he probably could have if he were aware of what was going on beyond the fourth wall. But as we discussed, literally, Toby was, is, and forever will be our king. Thank you, Michael, for stopping in and talking to me on Friday. So we can all just live with that.
The memories of it will not haunt us all. Will actually be agreeable and enjoyable. See, it's a horror show. Not everything has to haunt you, but what will have to haunt you is the decisions you've made, because you always regret the things you've done. So we're going to make sure to make you regret those more by putting them on screen and have you deal with those consequences. Layla, you can let our audience know what they have to remember.
Absolutely. So what will Rachel tell Eric she wants for their marriage? Y'all said separate cordially, the redemption path. How will Astrid manage Orson when Aurora visits? Let her see that violent behavior, chomp, chomp, once again, the redemption path. And then how will Eric handle Nora's demand to be set free? Let her out, but trail her. Team suffering finally takes one. So yeah, very interesting. I know that the kind of arc of history has been flowing towards redemption, but I do like it when suffering ekes one out, right?
Yeah, and it does feel like for the suffering option here, it kind of makes sense, right? It's like the rational thing to do is we don't know who Nora is, so like it makes sense that Eric kind of lets her go because kind of keeping her locked up, maybe not the best behavior to do, but still wants to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, hey, American citizens arrests are not a thing. Not a thing. Don't try it at home. Like, we can't be going around locking people in our beautiful Pennsylvania brownstones. That is not it. But yeah, I'm also curious about Nora because she shows up. Faith seems to like her, right? And usually when kids like you got a good vibe. We don't know much else about her, so. What
about these kids? I have less of a good vibe on these ones, though.
I mean, would you rather them like you or bite you? Those are kind of your choices.
So let me see what will Britt do her doppelganger. Leave her or leave them. Yes, that's mine. But one of the things, speaking of leaving, right, is that essentially one of the important parts, right, about that separation, it's not they chose to separate. Rachel said we're gonna break up.
No fault divorce, baby. That's a woman's right. It's in a ditch. But yeah, it's Rachel did say, but Eric also didn't disagree, right?
He never disagrees. He just listens to her. He's like, yeah, I guess we'll set. It's funny. He finds a backbone, and then she's like, okay, we'll separate. And he's like, I got what I wanted. Is this what I wanted? I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Well, I mean, he did get what he wanted earlier, and much more as the savior. But that's the thing is, it's kind of, that was the option, right? You wear the mask, you pay the time, so to speak. You got to pay those consequences. But, you know, Faith still wants to go kind of with her fodder, which automatically makes me on Rachel's side, given how that child has behaved recently. But you're right. That focus on Nora is important, right? Because I don't know if there's so much necessarily mystery surrounding Nora, but like she clearly had to deal with the mystery. So she's like kind of like the first line of sight, right? It's like, well, you know, Eric is right to ask her, what did you see? Not as a questioning line, but more as a, no, what do you know more than we do. Like, we have no idea. You know. And that's a big thing, right? Is the difference is when you look at, say, Astrid or Britt, they're right in the thick of things. Like, Astrid's literally going with Hagen to see, like, daughter revive monsters. Whereas, you know, in Pennsylvania, it's like almost secondhand.
Yeah, I mean, usually daughter monster is a term reserved for me, but we do like there's a lot of people seeing a lot of things, but the part that we have to get at is who's seeing the truth. Is it Astrid with her analytical mind? Is it the one-eyed lady? We will find out at some point, probably. But for now, we should talk about the decision opening today. Once again, we're back to Norway. What will Britt do with her doppelganger? A, revive her, redemption. B, leave her, suffering. Or C, kill her while she can for that damnation spice. As we've discussed, if that were me, I'm gone. You would be seeing my dust like a Looney Tune. Just wildly coyoteing out of there.
We see like your outline and there's dust and somebody waves and you're gone. Yeah, it's just, just not there. But by the way, everybody started with suffering and then they spiked up that redemption option way up there with the reviver. Now, what exactly is Britt reviving? Is an interesting question here.
Again, shadow clone, one of the Coraline button people, could just be a straight old missing twin, right? Ingrid was pretty shady. Maybe she had two at the same time and was like, nah, throw this one away. And this twin had a commitment to the bit, wore the same clothes. Like, who's to say? Not me, certainly.
No. And then they discover, oh, wait, this is the not evil twin. Anyways, that's a deep cut reference for people who know. If you know, you know. But essentially, you're right. It's essentially what's going on here. What are appearances as they seem? Like, I mean, is it literally a long lost twin? What's going to happen? And the nice part for the audience is you don't have to actually wait that much. It's just tomorrow. Some of the, obviously the decisions that have like a lot of portrait on the characters, on their fate, arcs, like usually take weeks to make sure you have time. This one's quick. You got a day to figure it out. You got a day to see what you want to see. Right now, Reviver wins, but there's still time to do the other stuff. Depending on what you want to do. I know a lot of you want to protect Britt as well. She's kind of the new fan favorite. What I like is Astrid's kind of in the middle. Like, people like her, but it's kind of going. So it is kind of funny to see like how you, the audience, perceive the different characters as time goes on. Like, as Layla said, the turning of the character for Eric to heal is definitely, I mean, it wasn't on my bingo card.
No, it wasn't on mine either. He seemed pretty rock solid in the fan fave category. And now he is just slipping and sliding on down. And that is, I guess that's the joy of this beautiful interactive streaming experience, is that we feel the brunt of the interaction when our characters literally just sit there and feel pain because they did something the audience doesn't like. And hey, for the record, I agree. Eric's heel turn, I think, justified. Yeah,
and remember, Joy died. Joy's dead.
God, I so forgot. Did Joy die?
Oh, no, I know. Surprise.
You mean Joy died? Oh my goodness, I memory hold it entirely. But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if anyone else will see either a heel turn or hey, a redemption.
No, for sure. Like, it's, I think the hope system is as well the one where a lot of people feel they have it, right? In dear scenes, I see the ones of you who want to specifically have Eric fail. That was actually kind of interesting to see. And obviously there's the puzzles. So that's the thing, right, audience? It's been lovely being with you. But what's even lovelier is I have a cup of tea waiting for me and I get to relax tonight. So I'm going to call the end of the show here. And I'm hoping, though, that you had a delightful time in our company. Quickly, I'm going to kind of, Layla, you know what? You do the story recap this time. I'll let them know what the next shows are, because I know that you got some deep cut references that I want to get all of them out.
Oh, I think, yeah, Naruto, my very deep cut reference to the most popular shonen ever. Well, actually, One Piece probably more popular. But anyway, so in Norway, we got Orson biting Aurora back hot on the tail of this case. Haugen, we got hashtag Howgrid happening over there. We got some vibes between the ladies. And to that, I say, let's go lesbians. And then Nils being their shady self. Over in Pennsylvania, we've got a divorce. And on top of that, we got Xavier just flipping and flopping based on what he wants Rachel to do, rubbing his hands together, getting ready to reveal his plans. And Krista coming in as, once again, the girl boss voice of reason, saying, hey, I'm the leader. I'm the captain now. You wanted references? This is me doing my best. So yeah, it's a lot going on Ascension as per usual, building up to some cool stuff. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. It is always a delight to be here and chat with our chat. Eduardo, thank you for being here with me and being your out-of-pocket self. We will see you all back here on Wednesday for the next pre-show. I believe production will throw up our schedule graphic.
It will.
Yeah.
There we go.
Once again, Ascension is on every single weekday at 6 p.m. Pacific. You can join us for the pre and post show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:40 Pacific, and again after the Endure. Magic Marmot says, love to the crew. I'm seconding that. Love to everyone you don't see on screen who makes the pre and post show possible. And love to you, the audience, for interacting with us and for having a great time. This has been, as per usual, Layla. That is as per usual. Also, Eduardo. Have a wonderful night.